Get ready for a love story overload. Welcome to the Lover List, where we bring you the sassiest love, dating, and relationship tales straight from Reddit. Like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications if you dare to fall in love with our videos. I walked away from a date because the girl said you're attractive despite being short. Just venting. Long story short, I'm 30, I'm an Italian man, and I'm 5 feet 9 inches. I moved to America a few years ago. I found a job here after university. I think Americans are friendly, cool people, and the country undoubtedly has a lot of beautiful places. But the height obsession in this country is simply absurd from the point of view of an outsider, and I do not want to date any woman here anymore. I think I want to fly back to Europe, and that's a shame because I actually like everything else in America, but not the dating game. I went on a date with this girl. The date was going well and we were having fun. At some point though she said you're very attractive despite being a little short. I walked away after she said that, immediately. She tried to apologize, but that was absolutely a deal breaker for me. Then she tried to text me and apologize. She said you're good looking and you have other qualities that are more important than your height, and I was like, no madam, I do not want to feel like I need other qualities to compensate for my lack of height, because my height isn't a flaw. The average man in Italy is 5 feet 9 inches, 5 feet 10 inches, which means that even in my country I'm not considered tall, but 5 feet 9 inches is average and totally acceptable in Italy. The main difference is that women and most people just do not care about height. False modesty aside, I'm not ugly at all, and I lost the count of how many times in Italy I was the shortest guy in a room or at a party. Yet I was the one being stared at or hit on. But this isn't just Italian women, this is most Southern Europeans. I went on a dinner with a few Spanish and Southern American friends some time ago. I hadn't moved to America yet. There were taller guys at the table. But the girls were just paying attention to me and ignoring the other guys because they evidently thought I was the most attractive one despite not being the tallest. I think that this heightism is just a cultural thing in the US, Canada, and Southern European countries, but to me it's a very shallow metric to measure someone's attractiveness. I see a lot of dudes walking around with a perfect posture all the time because they want to show off their height, and as an Italian I look at them and think, dude, what the heck, relax, you're standing straight like a soldier. I'm not looking for advice. Things just are the way they are and I can't expect to change America's culture. I'm just venting. I'll move back to my country and this problem will be solved, lol. Throwaway. In the USA, only about 14.5% of men are over 6 foot tall. The average height of a man in the USA is 5 feet 9 inches. And somehow every woman online BF is over 6 feet tall. I like how you responded, no madam. Me too. I like the whole way he handled it. Yeah, perfect response, OP. The average height is 5 feet 9 inches in NA, so that's not even short, just average, lol. Somehow people got it in their heads that the top 90th percentile 6 foot 2 and beyond is average. I'm also the same height and have also had women point blank say similar things. I'd be handsome if I was 2 inches taller, etc. Some have been the same ones posting anti-body shaming things, but they don't seem to think it's the same thing when it's a man, when it's something he can't even control, or perhaps when it's just not about her specifically being an unhealthy weight. It's weird what we think is okay and what's not. Those are both body shaming. Yeah, the height obsession is a bit much considering most adult men in the US are below 6 feet 5 feet 9 inches is average. Yeah, I don't blame you, that's an odd way to give someone a compliment. It sounds like she's negging you. Yeah, because it's a backhanded compliment, which isn't really considered a compliment but just an insult. You're attractive despite being short is so foul. She basically said despite this flaw you have that you can in no way change, you're actually not hideous. How weird. LMAO. I'm 5 feet 9 inches and the difference in how me and my 6 feet 2 inches friends are treated is quite honestly just absurd. Good for you for demonstrating self-confidence and self-respect and shutting that garbage behavior down. She's probably kicking herself for being such an idiot. Good for you, OP. And geez, you're not short. Not in my opinion, anyway. What is with folks? Granted, I'm 5 feet 3 inches. But still, in the US only 14.5% of men are over 6 feet. Good move, that was a bit rude on her part. More than a bit. but they think such attitude doesn't apply to them because nothing can be done about it. Physical retribution gets the law, and verbal retribution is automatically abuse, the notion of which is backed by a society that doesn't ask questions in favor of keeping with what's popular. You don't need to verbally degrade or strike someone to draw a line or check their attitude. In his case, he left, which was embarrassing for her because she clearly thought she was too valuable to need to treat people with respect and decency. A reasonable and proportionate response. Getting heated and emotional, even if you're not trying to physically attack them? Why? Isn't even a good position to be in anyway. Those things make it clear someone is under your skin. What riles the average asshole or bully is people who can assert themselves without throwing a fit. I just glanced through the messages and felt like most people aren't appreciating the fact that there is some serious problem with USA with respect to height and dating. I also like living in US a lot, but adjusted for prosperity US superficiality is out of the world. OP's comment on maintaining an erect posture is so funny, even I have noticed it. I myself had great difficulty when learning Latin dance in Colombia because my posture lost fluidity on account of maintaining a rigid soldier posture. My teacher would always say relax your body, LOL. Must be rough for Europeans to leave Europe. Met so many European women and dated one while traveling. Always surprised by their outlook and knowledge. But USA nails it down on such an important aspect, money. Should have hit her with, you're very attractive despite having a shitty personality. Nah, silence is better. They gonna use anything you say to justify her choice of words. Don't give anything for her to cope it with. Just silence. Attention is valuable. You're ugly, despite being moderately attractive. It's only Americans that are obsessed with height. I've only really learned about it from Reddit. I prefer shorter guys as I'm petite myself. Reddit isn't exactly the best place to learn about dating culture/norms. Take everything with a grain of salt. Some of these stories sound exaggerated compared to what I have seen and experienced in real life. I feel like it is at least a North American thing though. I know to you I'm just another Redditor saying this LOL, but I'm in Canada and have had similar point-blank comments, like one woman saying you'd be handsome if you were 2 inches taller. I'm also 5 feet 9 inches, which is literally the average male height here LOL. I'm French and American and lived in LA for a year and a half. So it's like the US plus extra superficiality to the max LOL, and I consider myself relatively attractive and fit, but as a 5 feet 6 inches guy it really felt like I was a troll at times. I just wouldn't get dates. I moved back to France and met someone awesome within months. Man, as Greek who's lived in America for the past 8 years, I literally cannot wait to leave. I miss Southern Europe so f***ing much. Care to elaborate more on your experience? Thanks. Disclaimer, I've only lived in 4 different states and visited about 20, so maybe things are different in other states. I think the biggest thing I've struggled with is how little emphasis people here place on the importance of friendships and relationships, then they turn around and complain about having no close friends and being lonely. Especially the men. I've gone out of my way to make friends with men, and it's like pulling teeth. People are generally more suspicious of you. They're wondering what you want from them or what your angle is because that's how they go about their lives. They can't imagine someone wanting to be friends with you for the sake of having friends. Seems to me that very few people in America put any effort into maintaining their relationships. It's not a priority to them, which baffles me. Spending time and being surrounded by your loved ones to me and in many other cultures is the best part of life. Work seems to be the primary focus of their lives. To each their own, but to me, that's incredibly sad. Especially considering how few rights employees have in America and American corporations' track record of not giving a shit about their employees. I have never once heard a Southern European brag about working 80 hours a week. Like, good for you, I guess. The second thing is how everyone seems to view everything through the lens of a market transaction. I had never in my life been asked by a woman how much I make or what I can do for her before I moved here, for example. I had one guy ask me for $3 in gas money for picking me up for a social outing, and I was shocked. I would never dream of behaving that way towards someone I considered my friend. I've seen so many people on Reddit say that all relationships are fundamentally transactional, and then they wonder where the loneliness and misery come from. People are not products. Relationships are not products. They're not something you consume. They're something you create together. There are other things, but these are the ones that stand out to me the most. Best to calmly walk away with no hard feelings rather than waste time and money on a date with an obviously incompatible person. I never take it personally when a potential date/friend/stranger compliments me or makes casual comments that refer to the fact that I'm of below average height. I'm 5 feet 1 inch and have no problem with the fact that different people will often have very different attraction deal breakers, beauty standards, ambitions, and relationship preferences. I know that my height will be off-putting to some people or sometimes get me mistaken for a child. American women in general have this attitude about them where they think it's okay to say that to another person. That's even more of an issue than the height requirements themselves. Good for you. I'm at the point where any insult whatsoever in the beginning is a deal breaker because it's normally an indication of a narcissistic personality type. People who were raised right don't insult others, period. Anytime I've broken this rule and ignored the insult, the person ended up being a major douchebag and I regretted letting things slide in the beginning. A lot of US girls don't care about height. I only care about whether he's taller than me, and 5 feet 9 inches is 4 inches taller than me, so I'd be happy with your height. Don't discount us all, lol. You just encountered some very shallow ones, unfortunately. Keep dating and amp, you'll find a good girl. Good for you. I as a woman cannot stand other women who will reject a man for his height. It's not something you can change. Same here. I will never understand why women have issues with a man's height. It's ridiculous. And to OP, in my opinion, 5 feet 9 inches is tall, but I wouldn't care whatever height they were. We need more women like this. As a short, average-looking guy that's in shape who's actually got a really fun personality, I get rejected for being short and not being hot enough. Nobody ever gives me a chance. It hurts. I get on great with women, I'm just never tall/attractive enough. I'm also 5 feet 9 inches, and yeah, shit gets old pretty quick and happens often. It's petty, but I've started taking shots back. Okay, I can't grow anymore, but you could shave that mustache. I didn't choose to not be 6, but you chose to keep eating. I can't learn how to be taller, but you can learn how to do your makeup right. Also, I'm not a monster. I only fire back when it's completely unprovoked. If I hit on a girl and she says she's into taller dudes, no harm, no foul. She's just conveying her preference, which is a good thing. I respect TF out of this. FR preference is fine, but telling them their own height as if it's a negative trait is just rude and uncalled for. I walked away after she said that. Immediately, she tried to apologize, but that was absolutely a deal breaker for me. Then she tried to text me and apologize. She said you're good looking and you have other qualities that are more important than your height, and I was like, no madam, I do not want to feel like I need other qualities to compensate for my lack of height, because my height isn't a flaw. Here, king, you dropped your crown. But seriously, concerning the height issue, this is possibly the best take I've ever heard, and it's something I've thought about, but can't put it in words. I'm 5 feet 5 inches, and I don't want somebody who sees my height as a flaw that they can put to the side because they like my personality or something. If you want to be with me, I want you to like all of me, not force yourself to look the other way / have a hang up about my short stature. As European woman who's into short men, what's going on in the dating subs here is really crazy. Most of the time I can't really believe it. I have a friend who's quite short and struggling with this. I have tried countless of times to convince him to put himself out of there because he could find someone like you, but nothing. He always has excuses and only uses apps for things that never go anywhere. Well, you can't help people who don't want to be helped. Or, as we say here, you cannot carry the dog to the fox hunt. Women who nag like that are f***ing weird. Her loss forever. Good on ya, mate. I think for some it's a status thing. Like, sure, maybe it's actually attraction, but to me it's like big boobs, nice if they're there, but a woman can still blow my mind without them. And a mind-blowing date who happens to have small boobs is definitely still getting my enthusiasm. But for women who have to date a tall man, I think many just have it in their head that they're not the best if he's not also tall. Sad state of things. But if they want to will their way into unhappiness, no point stopping them. Another episode of relationship stories that will bring a smile to your face and a tear to your eye is in the books. If these tales left you inspired, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any future episodes filled with tales that'll warm your heart.